So why is the Biden administration letting Putin call the shots in the Ukraine? I don't get that. Here to discuss, John Ratcliffe, former director of national intelligence and co-chair of American security at the America First Policy Institute. First of all, Merry Christmas, John Ratcliffe. Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas, Larry.
Yeah, it's wonderful to see you. Thanks for coming back on. I got a couple of things for you. One is this Putin story. There's all kinds of speculation, you know, he's amassing troops on the border and so forth. I'm not interested in the military side so much. I mean, we'll see when we see. What I'm interested in is the National Security Council had a conference call, I think, with reporters today. And their spokesperson, here's what she said. We have been clear that there will be significant consequences if Russia chooses to go ahead with a further military invasion of Ukraine. Now, my problem is the if. Why are we waiting, reacting to Putin? Why are we reacting? She says later, it's a clear understanding. He knows we're going to line up all these terrible things, meaning sanctions. John Ratcliffe, why didn't they put the sanctions on now, before any Putin? Why are we letting Putin drive this truck? We should be driving this truck.
Right. Well, that would make all the sense in the world, Larry, and it's just sort of consistent with the approach that this administration has inexplicably taken with regard to these foreign policy decisions. Look, Vladimir Putin has been driving the bus on Ukraine every time Joe Biden's been in the White House. In 2014, when he was vice president, he invaded and illegally annexed Crimea. Then he stopped for 4 years when President Trump was in the White House, and now, as you pointed out, is amassing troops on the Donbass region. And, you know, to that point, Larry, one of the things that's being proposed right now is a return to the Normandy format, where France and Germany would negotiate some sort of an agreement between Ukraine and Russia under the old Minsk agreement from 2015. And Vladimir Putin's response to that was very telling. He said, no, I'd rather deal with the United States directly. So what does that tell you? It tells you that given a choice between France and the United States, Vladimir Putin views the French as the tough guys. So that tells you how far and how fast our standing you know, on these national security issues has fallen in the year that Joe Biden has been there. And so what Vladimir Putin has successfully done is given the United States this Hobbesian choice. He said, I will either invade Ukraine or you will give me assurances that Ukraine won't become a NATO member. You know, so the only question is, how is the Biden administration going to respond to this? Obviously, that's a win-win proposal for Putin and a lose-lose proposal for Western democracies. And to your point, Larry, how do you even get in this position? A proactive approach, you know, talking about, you know, the sanctions ahead of time and even putting things like Crimea back on the table would have been the smart and aggressive thing to do that would have held Putin at bay. But he always gets what he wants when Joe Biden's in the White House, so why stop now? Yeah,
I mean, first of all, Biden's first mistake was to allow the Nord Stream 2 pipeline to go through. He removed the sanctions that the Trump administration had. That was his first mistake. I would slap on it right now back the Nord Stream sanctions and the banking sanctions and maybe some oligarch sanctions, too. But, John, I mean, I don't want to belabor it. This phrase, if Russia chooses, just kind of burns me up, you know? Where's America first? That's what I want to know. By the way, as you know, Emmanuel Macron is tough on Russia, and Emmanuel Macron was against leaving the Nord Stream 2 pipeline. He said, no, we don't want to do that. It was Merkel in Germany. I got another one for you, though, John. Today's Washington Times. President Biden bowed to his party's far left on Wednesday by easing economic restrictions on the Taliban and allowing U.S. tax dollars to fund, quote, civil society programs in Afghanistan. Biden made the decision just days after 46 members of the Congressional Progressive Caucus demanded that the White House ease restrictions. John Ratcliffe, if you put money into Afghanistan through NGOs or whatever, who do you think is going to wind up taking that money and using it for their own ends?
Well, right, Larry. We know that somewhere around 85 to 90% of those humanitarian dollars don't make their way to the intended recipients. There are tolls and fees that the Taliban will charge, on that money as it's coming in. But this just falls under the adding insult to injury, and of course the injury being, it wasn't bad enough that Afghanistan was the worst military defeat of our lifetimes, and given the the disparity between the Taliban and the U.S. from a power standpoint, some would say in U.S. history. But now, adding insult to that. Look, if the Taliban had any interest in helping its own people, it would sell off some of the $85 billion in the most sophisticated weaponry that Joe Biden already gave them. So what this was, he surrendered to the Taliban, and now he's surrendered to you called it the Progressive Caucus, it's the Socialist Caucus, it's Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, who are saying, yes, the Taliban is the most repressive, grave human rights offender that there is with respect to women and LGBTQ, but we want you to lift the sanctions on them so that we can send money there. It's insulting. You have to you have to decide whether to laugh or cry about it. But Afghanistan just becomes worse and worse. And again, one of these inexplicable things where I cannot believe this is the official position that the United States of America is taking. On the heels of the worst military defeat of our lifetime.
John, the progressives, the socialists bark, and Biden jumps. They bark, he jumps. It's unbelievable.
He surrendered to the Taliban, and now he's surrendering to, the socialists within, the left wing of the Democratic Party that have really been driving the bus and driving America into the ditch with respect to foreign policy decisions for the better part of a year. And as you and I talk about, how much damage can we sustain when we look at this over the course of just 1 year? What does 3 more years look like this, and how can the United States recover? I think that's what the question that I get out in the public a lot, and what most Americans are concerned about right now.
Save America, kill the bill. Save America, kill the bill. John, quickly, you wrote a great op-ed on Fox News. Wall Street and Silicon Valley must stop bankrolling communist China. I totally agree. You're right about billionaire Ray Dalio, who has a moral equivalence. China's human rights difficulties, cruelty is like ours. That's just absolute nonsense. But what really interested me was your idea of using CFIUS to not only monitor investments in the United States, but to monitor investments going out of the United States. I hadn't really thought about that. The Committee on Foreign Investment. Very powerful.
Well, I think we have to think about a regulatory framework that looks on that in terms of U.S. dollars going out when we know, and the intelligence is so clear, and Larry, because you've seen some of this intelligence, it's so clear that, these companies that have profited from our system, from free markets and from a constitutional democracy that's supported, are in pursuit of profits over in China, are harming our national security. In some cases, it's unwittingly, but in some cases, as I point out in the op-ed, it's intentional. It's knowing, it's willful. They're putting profits above national security, and if they're going to do that, and ignore damage to our national security posture, then we should put limits on that, like we do on investments into the United States.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. Brian and I, we took the investment, whatever it's called, savings board, the retirement for the government. We took them out of China. It wasn't easy, but we did. You and others, I agree with you. We got to go a step further here. I mean, these Chinese companies, right? These are instrumentalities of the Chinese Communist Party. So the money flows to where the CCP wants it to flow, and the information flows to where the CCP wants it to flow. And I'll tell you one last one, John. Investor protection, because their accounting standards don't meet our accounting standards or global accounting standards. So frankly, investors are getting screwed anyway. Last thought.
Right. Yeah, well, absolutely. By investing in the Chinese Communist Party, you're investing in a government and growing a government that is intent on destroying free markets, free enterprise, and the constitutional democracy that supports it. It's just really nonsensical. I'm all for companies, earning profits, but let's not do it at the sake of national security. And if we have to put a regulatory framework on to prevent them from doing that, when they know so clearly that is the case, then we should do that. And I talk about that in the op-ed.
You do. It's a good op-ed. Thank you, John Ratcliffe. Merry Christmas, John Ratcliffe.
Merry Christmas,
Hope to see
Larry.
you soon.
Great to be with you.
All right, folks. Next up on Kudlow, I am going to talk